Listen to order this morning. Since we don't have a chairman selected yet, I'm going to run the meeting until we do the organization portion of our agenda packet.
Works for me.
So I'm going to do a roll call to make sure we know everybody who's in attendance. Bill?
Stram here.
Brian Murray here.
Elise McMath here.
Lawrence Peter Bauman here.
Okay, we have a quorum. We do not have our fifth member, Laura Wygan, who's let us know that she will not be in attendance today. With that said, if we can stand and do an invocation and pledge of allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And some of that is just a wish list.
And so our first order of business, I'm actually going to introduce, just so everybody knows, we have a new staffer with us today, Casey Quilter. He is our STR inspector in the office, has joined us now 3 months? 3 months ago. So he will be helping us out in today's hearing as well. I also just, the other faces in the audience, Jeb Brady, our building official, is here, as well as Paula Davis, who's our harbor master, since they also will be a part of this morning's hearing. So, with that said, we do need to have a reorganization election of officers. So we are looking for a nomination of chairman. And again, we don't have a sitting chairman because Dolores Blackburn, who used to be our chairman, has resigned because she has moved out of state. So we've had a vacancy since her resignation at the end of September. So here we go. Who would like to nominate somebody for chairman? Anybody?
I'll nominate Elise.
No. I'll nominate Bill.
Wait. Pete has nominated Elise. Do I have a second to that nomination?
Second.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for chairman?
I nominate Bill.
Elise would nominate Bill. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
Okay.
Thanks.
Are there any other nominations? I'm going to close our nominations. We have two candidates. We have Elise and Bill for chairman. So I'm going to take a vote first on Elise. All in favor of Elise, say aye.
Aye.
All in favor of Bill, say aye.
Aye.
Got two. Bill, I didn't hear a vote from you.
He doesn't need it.
Just double checking, did he want to weigh in on this one? No. Okay, with that said, I have right now sitting with Bill as our receiving the most nominations, most votes for chairman. So I'm going to move him on as our chairman, and I'm going to turn the meeting over him to run for the rest of the reorganization.
Thank you. I don't know if that's really a good thank you or what, but anyway, okay, so we now need to elect a vice chair. Do I have any nominations? Nope. I will nominate Elise.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to elect Elise as vice chair. Any other nominations? Hearing none, all in favor of Elise being vice chair, say aye.
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 Aye. Unanimous. Elise, thank you. And secretary, I would imagine that Jack is our secretary.
That's correct.
All right, so review and approval of minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda format?
Chairman, I move we approve the agenda format.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda format. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Approval of the October 14th, 2025 minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the October 14th, 2025 minutes. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Approved. Old business matters deferred from previous meetings. None. New business. Application from Derek, okay, Ron Cioli? Appealing the decision from the zoning administrator dated October 3, 2025, which provided a zoning determination letter, which was further amended on November 10th, 2025, regarding licensing a houseboat as a short-term rental, STR, in the Harbor Commercial HAR-C district that stated, the houseboat is not a structure and is not exclusively used for human habitation. Therefore, it does not fit the definition of a short-term rental, and the houseboat is a non-navigable floating home. Therefore, it is not within the U.S. Coast Guard's jurisdiction and falls under the town's zoning jurisdiction. The town's zoning ordinance, section 3.8, does not permit single-family homes in the Harbor Commercial District, HAR-C. The appeal application is authorized pursuant to Lake Charles zoning ordinance, section 2.6.4. The property is located in the HAR-C zoning district.
We're actually going to have Casey
Okay,
do the
Casey.
staff report.
All right.
Good morning. My name's Casey Quilter. I am the STR Compliance Officer, and I'll be giving you the staff report this morning with regards to the appeal. So to begin with, on Thursday, September the 25th, the applicant had emailed us requesting a business license and an STR, a short-term rental inspection. His houseboat is currently moored in the northeast corner of the town harbor along Marina Road. It has shore power and water, but no sewer. To give you a better idea of its location, I would ask you to refer to our aerial map pictures, P1 and P2. On the aerial map P1, you'll notice that the location of the boat has been circled, and there's an arrow drawn pointing to it. The second picture, P2, is referencing the Harbor Commercial, or HAR-C district, which is in the dark blue color, also with a circle there and an arrow pointing to it. I'd also bring your attention to the image P3 on the following page of the staff report, which is showing a location of the applicant's houseboat in the Harbor District from the Bayside Road. And then it's also showing the location of another STR that has been referenced, the Hook and Harvey, on the other side of the marina. So upon receipt of the application for both the business license and the STR inspection, Ms. Nunez, the Planning Zoning Administrator, had asked Jeb Brady, who is the code official, myself, the STR Compliance Officer, and Paula Davis, the Harbor Master, to review 1, the zoning ordinance, 2, the zoning map, 3, the state building code, and then, of course, the Harbor Commercial District zoning ordinance as well. So the group's review resulted in a decision of denial for the business license to operate an STR in the marina, and that was based on zoning code appendix A, short-term rental, as based on the definitions of a short-term rental as a room or space that is suitable or intended for occupancy for a dwelling, and then also based on the definition of a dwelling as a structure that is used exclusively for human habitation.
Sorry.
Therefore, because the applicant's houseboat is not a structure and is not used exclusively for human habitation, we decided it does not fit the definition of a short-term rental. That was all in section 2.6.4 of the zoning code appendix. So Mr. Rocchioli later responded on October the 13th that his quote, argument rests on the fact that the Cape Charles Town Code does not specify structure foundation, while most STR structures, considering dwellings, are built on concrete footings or blocks. His dwelling is built on a floating barge that lacks propulsion and is tied into land utilities. The town subsequently added in response on October the 13th that we accepted his classification of his houseboat as lacking propulsion and being non-navigable. And his houseboat is not within the U.S. Coast Guard's jurisdiction because it is not a vessel and does fall under the town's zoning jurisdiction. Therefore, in addition, the town zoning ordinance section 3.8 does not permit single-family homes in the Harbor Commercial District or HARC. Subsequently, the appellant said that his houseboat is capable of meeting all STR compliance requirements, but the town's position that his floating home is not a structure suitable for dwelling conflicts with both its real-world use and with the existing XTR activity in the Harbor District, including the Crow's Nest, which is above the Hook and Harvey. So I have included on page 4 a picture of the Hook and Harvey with the Crow's Nest. And you'll note there that it is captioned that the STR, the Crow's Nest, is located upstairs. So the town's position that section 3.8 clearly states in the intent that the intent statement of the Harbor Commercial District that it is a working waterfront and that mixed-use development is encouraged with any housing located above commercial or retail space. So you'll see there that the Hook and Harvey is a commercial or retail space, it is an operating restaurant, and that the Crow's Nest above it is an STR. And in the list of uses for this district, it states that condominium and cooperative dwellings are permitted by right and multifamily dwellings by conditional use permit, but single-family dwellings are not permitted either by right or through a conditional use permit. The town also contends that the houseboat is not connected to sewer and would not pass an STR inspection because it does not fall under the purview of the state building codes, like other structures the town currently inspects.
If I could stop you there, Casey, because
Sure.
I think we should get testimony from the harbor master, because she did go look at the boat as well, and then from the building officials, the requirements for an STR relative to inspection components.
So,
If you would.
Could I ask a question where we are?
Sure.
There's a dwelling above the office for Oasis Harbor.
The yacht center.
Yeah, yeah. And I just wondered where that fit into all this.
I think we're about to reference it, but we can go ahead and do it right now.
yeah, sure.
It doesn't matter. I mean, I guess it's the same as Hook and Harvey or what have you.
So it was also our intent in full disclosure, while the applicant did not reference the other STR that is operated in that harbor district, we are including it, and it is pictured in the staff report too, and it has been approved by the town within that district as an operating STR. So if you look at P5, you'll see that there's a picture there of the upstairs of the the downstairs of the Yacht Center office, which is a commercial business, and then the upstairs, which is in fact the captain's quarters that you mentioned. So, and that has been approved and is located on the second floor. And this is allowable under the zoning ordinance for this district since the residential unit is on the second floor above that commercial space.
So I have a question about that.
Sure.
That picture there shows two doors. I would assume this, one of those doors is for the upstairs, the other door is for...
It is. That door is used for the sole purpose of the STR. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thanks.
So,
Thank you.
Paula, if you come forward and just state who you are for the record, and then indicate what you did observe for us.
I'm Paula Davis, harbor master. Just as far as the sewage goes, the vessel's not hooked up to any kind of town sewage. he can explain that a little better on how it's being handled. My concern is the water. We do drain our water lines in the winter. We did it yesterday, and it probably will not get turned back on until March. Where this boat is located, there's even more to that. It might not even be a winter thing. We have a leak right now. We've had the water for a month, and we're waiting on a contractor to come get in the concrete so that we can repair the leak. So it's not something, if we get a water leak in that inner harbor, we can't fix it in 2 hours.
Any questions for Paula on her observation of the boat?
So let me understand, Paul, so you provide water for boats that are there, but you turn it off in the winter?
We did.
Okay.
And drain the lines.
Is that's for the entire harbor?
Yes.
Okay. And is that normal? I mean, that's what's happened every year up to this point?
It should be normal. It should be. And you drain the lines out so you don't have, when it freezes.
Again, so everybody's aware, the town had contracted out its management of the harbor for about a 4-year period, but which was to Oasis. They took that back as of last year, and so Paula's now been there, I guess a year at this point. So it's different. The town is back in doing management and has different rules in place at this point.
Miss Paula, what is the connection with the leak that you referenced? Like, what is the implication of that
So we have a
circumstance?
leak right now that it's buried in concrete,
Mhm.
and we need to get to it to repair it. And we don't have means to do that, and you know how it is trying to find
Yeah, but,
time-wise.
and so your concern is even in months that aren't winter, that there could still be.
Correct. So this happened a little over a month ago. We recognized the leak. We had to turn the water off at the street and just wait for somebody to come. Rather than the water, I mean, it's just running, and that's money.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeb, would you mind coming forward as building official and walk through your process of inspection for SDRs?
Jeb Brady, code official for the town of Cape Charles. So as Casey referenced, the building code does not regulate boats. So to start right off, that kind of just throws us off into a whim of how would we even enforce looking at an STR, because we can't tie it back to the building code. So that's kind of where my standstill was, is I don't, it's more gonna be a zoning issue as opposed to a building code issue. If it were regulated, and there are some things in here that I kind of would have major concerns about, one being sewage disposal. If you're looking in the residential code itself, it says it has to be to an approved means system, either sanitary sewer system, or in the county we have septic systems. I did reach out to a building official in the town of Chincoteague who actually has a floating quote-unquote campground, and asked them how they're handling that and what kind of problems they have, and that was about a 2-hour conversation of a massive amount of problems when it came to floating vessels being used as short-term rentals. Take that for what it is. So that's kind of where I stand on that. Any questions?
Thank you. And I'm gonna bring Casey back to finish the staff report.
Sure, so with the requirements to be considered under the Code of Virginia, Section 15.2-2309, gives you all the power and the duties in order to make a decision on zoning appeals. And of course, we would like you all to consider the administrative officer to be correct, and the determination of the administrative officer shall be presumed correct. Our recommendation from the town is that you deny the appeal of application 2025-02 and uphold the decision of the zoning administrator to deny a business license to failure to obtain zoning clearance for the houseboat to operate a short-term rental in the Harbor Commercial District, since a single-family dwelling which the houseboat meets that standard but is not allowed use by the Harbor Commercial zoning ordinance.
Could you repeat that last sentence?
Sure. The Harbor Commercial District says that it is a single-family dwelling which the houseboat meets that standard, but is not allowed as use in the Harbor Commercial District.
So it's allowed as a single-family dwelling?
No.
No.
In the Harbor Commercial District, which we provided you, that section of the zoning ordinance, single-family dwellings are not a permitted use by right,
Okay.
nor through conditional use permit.
Okay.
And so again, to ask the question, how do we have a second-story residential use occurring in the zoning district? Because the ordinance does stipulate that is the only allowance for how you can have that sort of dwelling to occur is on the second story with commercial space below.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Sure. Okay.
That's all I have. Any questions?
I do have some questions, probably for Katie.
And it's to Casey.
To Casey.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
Okay, so what is the town recognizing this structure to be if not a single-family dwelling?
Sure. It's recognizing it to be a vessel
Okay.
or a boat.
Got it. And in our zoning ordinance, you do not recognize it to be a single-family dwelling, particularly because it's not in the correct zone and also the foundation.
Correct.
And-
That's correct.
Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you.
So if you'd like to hear from the appellant?
So we'll let you come forward now.
Go ahead if you need to deal with your child first.
What are you doing to that child?
Dear.
I think this will be pretty quick and easy.
Again, just state your full name, Derek. And
Good morning, Chair, members of the board. My name is Derek Ronchioli. Originally from Berlin, Connecticut, resident of Norfolk now. I'm a Navy logistics officer with 14 years of active service. With me today are my wife and my newborn son, my daughter, 3-year-old daughter, who you might have heard previously. She was supposed to be at school today, but with the 2-hour delay, we didn't have the opportunity to drop her off. We purchased the houseboat in July of '24, and we were intending to make Cape Charles our home. Previous owners lived in it for, I think, 2 years. New military orders to a ship in Newport News, the new John F. Kennedy aircraft carrier, and rapid growth of our family with the newborn son prevented us from moving up here. The commute to Newport News is just too far, and the houseboat's a little bit too small for our family. My intention today is not necessarily to gain a permit, but to just open the conversation to how we can utilize the houseboat and share the unique tranquility of the vessel and our love for Cape Charles with other visitors other than just ourselves. Our experience with the zoning ordinance and the denial so far has been characterized with swift prohibition, not necessarily collaboration, demonstrating an unwillingness to explore an opportunity that aligns with the town's tourism goals. We're just trying to see how we can get to a yes, essentially. So first off, the denial referenced zoning ordinance 3.8. This is an administrative error. It should be 3.9. After reading through what is characterized as a floating home and how that zoning ordinance reads, I have that printed off here. But I also, you guys made my job a little easier today. I agree with you. It is a vessel. After further research, discussion, and just looking into other cases where this has actually happened, it's not a floating home. It's a legally registered vessel. We have registration. We have a whole number for the barge, etc. So I'm here to prove that this property is not a floating home, it's a legal registered vessel. Based on the vessel is currently registered as a boat with the Commonwealth of Virginia. This superior classification preempts the town's ability to impose local zoning ordinance that classify it as a home.
Could you repeat that?
This superior classification registration with the Commonwealth of Virginia preempts the town's ability to impose local zoning ordinance and classify it as a home. Functional independence, we rely on self-contained marine sanitation systems. We're getting into the sewage, not the town's municipal sewer infrastructure, so this removes us from the land-based building code jurisdiction. We have a electroscan toilet and a dry toilet. So the dry toilet is essentially a big sock. When you fill it with waste, the sock twists and extends further. It's about 130 feet total, so you can use it for about 40 flushes when you're done. Trash bag, dumpster. The other toilet is an electroscan, so when it treats the waste with salt water, it induces salt water and then treats that salt water with an electrical current. The electrical current shocks the waste, kills any bacteria, and then discharges it overboard. And that system is Coast Guard approved. It was tested 2 years ago. Water, we have a 200-gallon stowage tank on the bow. The 200-gallon tank is hooked up to a pump that supplies showers, washing machines, sinks, garden hose, etc. That tank needs to be filled about once a week with people actively living there. So a water delivery service would easily prevent the problems that Paul was discussing with the water outage. And electricity, 250 amp breakers. There's no generator, but there's the ability to install one if needed. Precedent and opportunity. So this concept of a floating home or houseboat for short-term rental is not untested. Commercial lodging on compliant watercraft is a proven model that generates significant revenue for the town and interest in waterfront communities. I specifically cite Flow Home, abbreviations FLOHOM, Floating Home, which legally operates 14 houseboats or floating homes on the Chesapeake Bay in communities like Virginia Beach, Baltimore, National Harbor, and Annapolis. This model works, it's safe, and it's permitted, and it's permitted in each of these locations. In fact, I personally know the CEO through self-interest in reaching out. And out of personal interest, I've discussed with him navigating legal and zoning ordinances, something his company has successfully done in all these communities. In conclusion, because this structure is a vessel, not a prohibited single-family home, I intend to operate a short-term rental, a floating hotel essentially, in addition to staying with my family during certain times of the year. This is a commercial business that pays taxes that is entirely consistent with the Harbor Commercial HARC zoning district requirements. As a dedicated service member, a family man, I am committed to full compliance, and I ask that you recognize the facts, affirm the vessel's legal status, and overturn the denial, allowing both a beneficial and compliant commercial venture to proceed. I just have a summary of this printed out if you'd like a copy.
If you could, that'd be great.
I also have a survey done on the houseboat. It's not current, it's about 2 years old, but it walks through the whole number, all the utilities that the houseboat has. It has pictures. So if you'd like to see that as well, I can show it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm still in touch with the previous owner. They lived in it for 2 years through the winter. Previous marina management did not shut off. There were 2 water lines that were not shut off through the winter, and those lines were used to fill the 200-gallon tank on the bow, which allowed people to stay in it through the winter. Last year, that one of those water lines froze and punctured, so it's generally a good idea to turn off all water through the winter. And that's something that Paul's team has taken on this year. So just to explain what it's been doing for the last couple of years and how people are living on it. Inside, the entire structure outside of utilities, which are unique to a vessel, meet the code for a building. The doors are the right size, the windows are the right size, there's egress, there's fire extinguishers, there's smoke detectors. The water pressure is better than my home. The electrical loading is fine, there's never any breaker trippage. It runs on a heat pump, so there's plenty of heat and air conditioning. It is a more comfortable structure than most single-family homes. It just has to meet you have to get your utilities from somewhere. So for water and for power, we rely on the marina, and for sanitation, we're self-compliant, self-fulfilling. Are there any questions for me?
Any questions of the applicant?
The only question I have in general is that some of these things would be better addressed by an expert or something,
That's fair.
in my mind.
I'll answer one of the questions before it's even asked. Drawing a blank here. I don't know where
What
I'm
time
gonna
is
go
it?
with this. So what if you approve this? What if you grant a permit and you start operating a short-term rental, and everybody in the marina says, "Oh wow, you did it, I want to do it too," and they come to Katie with their boat and say, "Hey, I got this 20-foot schooner sailboat. Can I put it up on Airbnb?" Obviously, that's the can of worms and the risk. The difference here is the structure is meets all the building code compliance outside of utilities. So the doors are the right size. It has full size appliances. It has a washer and a dryer. It has a hot water heater that has no capacity limitations or issues. It sleeps 4 without any issues. I think there's a way you can enforce the building code to prevent boats, but to allow boats that are comfortable, even exceptional lodging experiences, to proceed. And that's how you mitigate your risk with that question and that concern. Cape Charles is such a unique town and unique place on the Chesapeake Bay. I think the houseboat actually adds to its uniqueness in a way. Searching the internet, there's YouTube videos of people walking by and saying, "Oh wow, look at this cute little houseboat," and it also kind of is like the tiny home community that's down the street. So not necessarily arguing one way or the other, but just stating that it adds to the charm. At least I think so. Growing up in New England and growing up outside of this community.
Any other questions to the applicant?
I'll pass the survey around just so everybody can take a look.
Okay.
Can you go over the sewer stuff again?
Sure. Do you want the user's manual for the toilet?
No, but I mean, so you physically dispose of the waste in just the trash?
Oh, for the dry toilet?
Yeah, for the dry cleaning.
Yeah, it's a tinfoil sock about this big, 130 feet long, and every time
130 feet long?
it's like all coiled up. Like
Oh, I
slinky.
see, okay.
So every time you use the bathroom, if it's number 1, you add powder, and the powder gels the liquid, so it becomes a solid. If it's number 2, you still add the powder, and it makes it a more solid. And then you press a button. This is a Coast Guard approved toilet as well, but you press a button, and the sock just twists and pulls down further into the toilet. So you have a seal on the waste that's already in, and you can continue to use that sock for subsequent flushes over and over again until it's full.
And when it's full?
Trash bag, tie a knot, and throw it in the dumpster. And it's just a solid trash bag of waste.
And is it sterile?
It's self-contained in the trash bag, in several layers of trash bags. So it's not only in the slinky, it's also in a bag that the slinky comes in, and then in a larger trash bag. So it is 3 layers of containment.
Okay.
trash, it's exactly sterile.
I'm just trying to understand the process.
I understand, yeah.
And so that's Coast Guard approved for just like a boat? Like any boat in the harbor can have that
Yes, sir.
kind of toilet?
And do you want to walk through the other one again, or no?
What's the other one?
It's an Electroscan Coast Guard toilet.
Uh,
So it has a tank that's about the size of a large car battery. You flush the toilet using the boat's water. It enters the first chamber. The first chamber has an aerator that liquefies everything. And then every subsequent flush moves the waste to the next stage of treatment. So the second stage is electric shock. So you add, every time you use the toilet, you add scoops of salt. The salt creates a saltwater environment for the waste. When you treat salt water with a DC voltage, a direct current voltage, it creates hydrochloric acid, which treats all the bacteria in the waste and sanitizes it. And then the third flush would be the discharge, where the treated waste is discharged as water, essentially.
So that's just for urine?
It's for all waste.
And that's being discharged into the harbor?
It's Coast Guard approved. It was tested 2 years ago.
May I ask one question to the applicant? Sorry.
Sure.
And I've swam under there.
Go ahead.
And
So if a tenant does not absorb follow those procedures during their stay, what happens to the system? If they don't put the salt in to the tank, if they don't deal with the full tinfoil sock, what happens?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a conventional toilet, so what if a tenant uses the toilet in one of your short-term rentals in Cape Charles and the toilet clogs? How do we handle that situation?
Well, I'm asking you how it's handling your situation right now.
Somebody attends to the toilet and fixes it, so we would have someone on call, or myself, I would drive up and fix it. We haven't had issues ourselves staying there, but it's not no mechanical systems that hold fluid are impermeable to human use, just like your toilet in your house. So, I mean, if there were issues, I'd be fixing it or hiring a technician to fix it.
I do want to comment on a couple items that you raised during your presentation, Derek. Section 3.8 is the harbor commercial zoning district of our zoning ordinance.
Okay.
3.9 is the harbor light industrial,
Okay.
and you do not fall under that zoning designation. It's not where the map is for harbor light industrial, okay?
Okay.
So 3.8 is the correct citations that we had provided for you, so I did want to state that.
I just printed out what was emailed to me, and I read through that and couldn't find anything about what was cited in 3.8. It may have been an error what I printed out, though.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Get what you need to. I know our amended response specifically addressed information you provided us in your first appeal application, where you are the one who did identify that it's a non-navigable floating home. That's what led us to amend the town's position of indicating being it non-navigable, that threw it into our jurisdiction because it does throw us as not under the Coast Guard's jurisdiction. Are you indicating now that you actually do have this registered with the Coast Guard and it is a navigable vessel?
Yes.
And when did that happen?
It was registered the entire time. I was seeking a permit, seeking approval and compliance, and the way in which floating homes and houseboats are distinguished is the differences are very minor. So when you draw attention to certain facts, it sways the classification one way or the other. So that's what happened in this case.
So
It is a floating, or it is a navigable vessel.
and registered with the Coast Guard?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Well, the state of Virginia.
I just needed clarity, because that was new information again presented today that I did not have when we were making our decision.
Understand.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to intrude on the board, I just had some further
Does
questions.
does that change? Because the one part that I don't feel confident in my own understanding is that this new designation that you bring up would be subject to superior maritime jurisdiction and how that relates to our zoning ordinance.
I still do not think it classifies for a short-term rental under our zoning ordinance. That has not changed in my position to you. The structure does not meet the requirements that we've outlined for a short-term rental operation, so.
Okay.
So let me weigh in here for a second. The harbor area, commercial, when it was the zoning ordinance was changed, it was to first of all, it was to mimic as close as possible to the commercial district in Cape Charles, which is mixed use. So it's commercial on the first floor and housing on the second floor, or residential on the second floor. And that's what's in the harbor. That right there prevents that. It's not housing on the second floor. It's not commercial below it. So it would be setting a precedent. And so that's the gist of what this is. So
So before you go any further, Bill, are we done hearing from the applicant? Do you have any further questions from the applicant or staff?
Ask a question.
sure.
Is a hotel a commercial business?
It's not allowed. It's not allowed in the harbor. It's not a permitted use in the harbor.
The only ones that are permitted are condominiums, dwelling, antique shops, bookstores, camera shops, candy stores, clothing stores.
Those are conditional uses, okay?
Okay.
It's conditional uses,
And hotels would be the same through conditional use.
use, yeah.
Okay.
Hotels and motels are conditional use,
Restaurants are permitted though,
yes.
and obviously marina offices.
Yeah, the permitted uses in condominiums, cooperative dwellings, parks, playgrounds, it's all in the ordinance, so, yeah. But again, I go back to the lead into the harbor commercial, and it states that it's a working waterfront, and you know, is to permit, its intent is to permit retail and commercial businesses generally found in a retail business area that would be complementary to the commercial district within the historic district overlay district. Mixed-use development is encouraged with any housing located above the commercial or retail space. And that's why you have above Hook and Harvey and above the Cape Charles Yacht Center.
So I just wanted
Yes,
to
sir.
make sure, are we good with questions or?
Are there any other questions of the applicant?
Okay. And I don't mean to be rude, it's really not a debate between you and the board. It's really their chance to get any of their questions answered.
That's fair.
So I just want to make sure you've had a full chance to make your presentation. And they have any further questions of you. Otherwise, I think they're about to close the hearing and then debate amongst themselves with the decision. So,
So do I have any other questions? Okay, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I move we close the public hearing, Chairman.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, so public hearing is closed.
okay.
So thank you, thank you. And also thank you for your service.
Thank you.
All right, so now discussion.
And this is amongst ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it seems clear to me that the framework that exists would not permit the desired outcome. And so as far as what we're able to offer as a body, I think that the zoning administrator has done her job of enforcing the zoning ordinance. It's not really anything that we can do here to modify the framework, but perhaps the appellant could be invited to some of the master planning around the harbor if he feels strongly about this vision. I just don't think that we're the appropriate means to assist him. But I don't mean to suggest anything. But I agree with the zoning interpretation of the ordinance.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I certainly, feel for the applicant and the idea of the houseboat and, part of the harbor and stuff, but it doesn't seem, as Lee said, under the current framework that is allowed, and that's, I guess, what we have to rule on is the current framework.
Yeah. And really, so much of this is more a matter of planning. And the beautiful thing about our town is everyone can be really involved in that process, and it's not like some big city where you're going up against some huge forces, that we're all really, really well connected. And conceptually, I think it's a cool idea, and our harbor is such a rich point of heritage that would be worth inviting people to be a part of. But I don't think that we can help.
Okay.
I'm kind of in the same place as Elise. I've been thinking about things like the Dillon Rule and Chesapeake Bay. This has to go on all over the place in other parts of the bay. But the ordinance is the ordinance, and there's a way to, there's other avenues of appeal, but it's not, I don't think it's us.
Okay. So, would somebody besides myself like to propose a motion here?
I move that we uphold the zoning administrator's ruling on this matter.
I think we need to have something a little bit more substantial than that.
Substantive.
Yeah.
Set forth in the recommendations.
I think what we proposed in the staff report was specifically
Yeah.
to uphold the zoning determinant, to deny appeal 2025-02 and uphold zoning determination letter dated October 3, 2025, and further amended on November 10, 2025, and find that the town zoning ordinance section 3.8 does not allow a single-family home which the houseboat meets that designation as a permitted use in the harbor commercial district. Thus, there is no ability to have a short-term rental be licensed and permitted by the town for the houseboat. That is the proposed staff motion for your consideration.
So I think we also should include in there that it does not meet in section 3.8 that residential is only allowed above commercial.
Sure.
Okay.
I would need to have that in front of me. That was a lot to try to remember.
So it's in here, right?
packet.
It's in here. So
in the
that
staff
I'll read the same thing again, and I'll try to put what I just mentioned to Katie in there. The zoning administrator, requests that the Board of Zoning Appeals deny appeal 2025-02 and uphold zoning determination letter dated October 3, 2025, and further amended on November 10th, 2025, and find that the town's zoning ordinance section 3.8, which is the harbor commercial, does not allow a single-family home, which the houseboat meets, that designation as a permitted use in the Harbor Commercial District. And the only residential allowed is above commercial, and thus there is no ability to have a short-term rental be licensed and permitted by the town for the houseboat. Do I have a second to that?
Second.
Okay, further discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I approve, so it's unanimous.
Okay.
All right. Other matters, acceptance of the 2026 Board of Zoning Appeals meeting calendar. That was in your packet. It's basically the
It's the second.
the second Tuesday of the month at 10 o'clock for the whole year.
And again, I open it up for conversation because I know Brian is a new member today, Elise, and as we know with Laura, Elise has a position that she holds at this point in the town. So sometimes the meeting days and times may be challenging. Laura also runs a business in town, and she's told us from time to time she's not able to get here because of her commitments to having to operate and open that business. So again, it is a chance for the board to discuss if they want to look at a different date and time for the holding of their regular meetings. It doesn't mean you will meet every month. We only meet when there is an actual application that's been filed, but we need to advertise when those meetings would be held if an application is filed. So we do want to get to a fixed date and time of when you would be called into session if an application is received. So I open the floor if the second Tuesday at 10 a.m. does not work any longer as a viable meeting date and time for the board members.
Well, would it be easier for the people running businesses to meet at night? Is meeting at night an option?
It's always an option. I just make you aware that staff has to also be meeting at night. And it does limit our availability because there are already pre-established dates and times that we're gonna have to work around. Planning Commission is the first Tuesday at 6 p.m. of every month. The Historic District Review Board is the third Tuesday at 5 p.m. The Wetlands Board is the third or fourth Wednesday? Third Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. The Harbor Area Review Board has a standing date, but has not been convened into session in over a year. So I can't even remember when's that on the calendar. And then I'm frequently called into the town council meetings. They have 2 standing dates that they hold. They do a regular session on the third Thursday at 6 p.m. as well as the first Thursday at 6 p.m. is set aside for work sessions. So I'd have to stick around staying out of those calendar dates in total. So with that said, anything else is open.
So the big question is 10 o'clock okay? Or do we want to move it to later on because of people's jobs?
Well, I can just say that my position in town at the Impact Center is from 9 to 2 most days, and so I have support from the board to attend meetings like this, but it would certainly be nice to have it first thing in the morning or after 2 p.m. would be more convenient for me to not have to leave work. But I've been making it work so far, but just for your consideration.
I have no opinion.
I mean, again, Katie brought up a good point in that staff, is already committed to other boards in the evening. So now this is part of their daily thing, being at 10 o'clock. So if nobody's totally against meeting at 10 o'clock, we could just leave it as it is, or we could move it to another date, whatever.
Does anyone have any conflict with like a 8 or 9 time slot instead of 10, other than being retired and enjoying your mornings?
The 8 AM gets a little tricky just because we're technically not open till
Oh.
8:30.
Gotcha.
And I know frequently, some of the attorneys that get retained by applicants are coming from across the bay. So that I wouldn't recommend starting earlier than 9.
Okay,
That's all I can say.
that's fine.
Well, but that, I mean, you said you're from 9 to 2. I mean, so, you know, we could meet at 9. That way you wouldn't have to go to work for an hour and then come over here, so, I mean.
That would be nice if it's not,
Okay, so, is everybody agreeable to meet at 9 o'clock on the second Tuesday?
I am.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
all right,
hopefully that'll be nice for Laura. I wish she was here.
yeah.
But I guess in the summertime, I don't know what her hours are like.
What is the date certain when you will cancel a meeting because there's no work? Is it like a week before?
A month before, because
See,
from when we get that's why we gave you the whole schedule, which includes the deadline to file your
Okay,
application.
deadline is a month.
Because it does require us to do a review, investigation, and then also to get the public hearings scheduled. There's 2 legal ads you have to place, and then we have to also send out letters to the adjacent property owners. So that takes a period of time to get done. It's about a 3.5 week lead time we need to get that accomplished to meet our advertising requirements.
So you'll know a month before that Tuesday that there is or is not a meeting?
That's correct.
Okay, that seems like plenty of notice.
and so I think, I'm fairly new to this as well, but it's only like 3 or 4 times the max usually in a year that we meet, so.
9 AM is great. That's fine.
Okay, so 9 AM,
Thank you.
all right. And then you say review the BZA bylaws, or no bylaws included in the
Well,
packet?
it's your board
those-
member manual is what
Okay,
it's called.
all right, okay. So I encourage you, if you have not read this is for all boards, and
Actually, he did not. I'm sorry, you're right. He did not include the full bylaws, Jack. I'm gonna pick
we
on
have
him.
Appendix A and Appendix B.
Yeah, you do not have the full bylaws, so I need to get that to you, so we will put that on for next month's
Okay.
meeting. That actually works because, I've been working with the state DEQ. They do want an amendment going into your operating documents, your board member manual, as it relates to any, exception hearings you may have to hold under the Chesapeake Bay Act. So I need to work on a little bit of language to add into your member manual to help you review those sorts of applications.
So like as it relates to the RPA and things
Yes.
like that, okay.
Yes, like when this board held the hearing for the corner of Washington and Bay and a residential development occurring on that parcel, yes, the state has come back and they're fine with what happened, but they've just asked for some operating documents to help this board in that sorts of review in the future.
With the Dreams by the Water setbacks?
No,
No, must have been before.
no, because they did not, Dreams by the Water did not seek an exception from the Board of Zoning Appeals relative to the Chesapeake Bay Act, whereas the 2 residential lots, which was Mr. Hainsworth and his wife, sought from this board.
Gotcha,
Yes.
thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so next meeting is January 13th, 2026.
And I think you've already received, or you're about to receive, the email notification. We received no applications for that particular
So
meeting,
that means that we won't have it,
so we
it's just-
will be
okay.
canceling that.
because the
meeting.
application deadline was December the 2nd.
Yes.
All right, so that said, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn, Chairman?
Second. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.